Hello, students. Welcome. Today we are going to cover a brief lesson on the ICE format. This is important. These are the building blocks to any writing that we do using textual evidence. And textual evidence refers to quotes or paraphrase or just general information that you may pull from the textbook, from articles, secondary sources that you are going to incorporate in your writing. Okay, and so today we are going to discuss the ICE format. Specifically, we're going to look at just a very general outline. This can really cover any kind of writing that you may do. May it be a general argumentative essay, a literary analysis, any kind of writing you can do can kind of cover this. But we're going to take a look at this particular example is an argumentative essay. Okay, and so when we look at this, we're going to again have an opening, a transition to the thesis, and the thesis. And this is important. This is the part that we're really looking at right here. Okay, whoops, sorry about that. So we're really looking at the subject and should or should not, and the verb, and the 2 points you're going to cover. So, for example, marijuana should be legalized because it can have economic benefits and it can help alleviate opioid addiction, whatever we want to do. Okay, so we're going to, that's kind of our starting point. Of course, our opposition paragraph, that would be the arguments against legalization of marijuana, if that's the example we're going with, and then 2 body paragraphs and a conclusion. Now, as you notice in each of these paragraphs, we have these examples that are referred to as ICE. And so the purpose of this video is to kind of go a little bit more into detail on what exactly is ICE, okay? So again, we broke our thesis into 2 points. So if we're going, for example, the drinking age should not be lowered to 21 because young adults are not mature enough to consume alcohol at 18, and consumption of alcohol at a young age can cause health problems. Those are the 2 main points that we're going to write about in this essay, okay? And if we go a little further in, we're looking at our first body paragraph. So this is the one after the opposition. We're really focusing on this first point that young adults are not mature enough to consume alcohol at 18. And we're going to provide 2 examples of that, or to support that in ICE format. Okay. Now, if you want, you can break that down even further depending on the quotes you have. Again, you've done data analysis, you've collected quotes. What were 2 examples you found that show that young adults are not mature enough to consume? And can you kind of break those down into a word? So something might say, for example, the drinking age should not be lowered to 21 because young adults are not mature enough to consume alcohol because their bodies and brains are not fully developed. So we know we're going to have 1 quote on bodies and 1 quote on brains. And those are going to be broken down into ICE format. Okay. So what is ICE format? It stands for introducing the subpoint, citing, and explaining. Introduce a subpoint, again, going back here. The first subpoint might be bodies, and the second one might be brains. And they're all talking about the fact that young adults are not mature enough to consume alcohol. So that's introducing the first subpoint. Cite is just a way to say you're going to cite an example. So this can be paraphrased in your own words, or it can be a direct quote, but this should be support that you pulled from your sources, from your articles, from essays that you read. And then explaining that quote in 2 to 3 sentences. How does that quote support the idea that young adults' brains are not fully developed, and they therefore we shouldn't lower the drinking age? Okay. So again, here's an example. I pulled this quote from this article. Okay. And in that article, or in this study, basically scientists found that the brain of an 18-year-old freshman is still far from resembling the brain of someone in their mid-20s. Okay, so I'm going to kind of format that into the ICE format. So again, here's a topic sentence, the beginning of that paragraph. The drinking age should not be lowered because young adults are not mature enough to consume 18 because their bodies and brains are not fully developed. Now introduce the idea about brains. Okay, studies have shown that at age 18, most adolescents are not fully developed adults. Now go into the example. For example, etc., etc. Okay. Now we're going to explain. Okay, good 2 to 3 sentences. Because adolescents' brains are not fully developed, they may not have the maturity to make decisions regarding the safe consumption of alcohol. And then you can go on. They may make poor decisions. They may act on impulse. These decisions may have dire consequences, not just for them, but for others if they were to take the wheel or get behind the wheel after a night of drinking. And so again, you are going through and showing how they are not mature enough to consume alcohol. Okay. So, and that's just one ice. Now you're going to do it again. Okay. Now you're going to go through and give your example that shows that their bodies are not fully developed. Okay. And then that would kind of wrap up your paragraph. You give a concluding sentence, and that would be the end of that paragraph. And then you would move on to your next body paragraph. Okay, so pretty simple. A lot of it is kind of just putting it together. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger just so you can see again. Again, giving the topic sentence. If you want to break that down into 2 further points, that would be great. Giving your first example, telling me what that example is, giving me the direct example from the source, and then explaining it in 2 to 3 sentences of your own words. And then you do it again. Again, this goes back to our outline, okay? Giving the point, the topic sentence, giving 2 examples, and then the concluding sentence. Okay. Now, when we go ahead and put that quote in our writing, we don't want to just drop it in the middle of our paragraph. I don't want to see that you're starting a sentence with quotation marks. You want to follow this format, which is transition, indicator, verb, quote, and then the citation. So transition, you're going to start every sentence with a quote with one of these to illustrate, to demonstrate specifically. For example, for instance, you can use any of those, you can use others, but you have to start off with that transition, okay, that signal phrase. Then you're going to go into an indicator. Who or what said it? This can be the name of an author, the name of an organization, the name of a journal or a website. So, for example, the author's name, obviously, the name of the organization, CNN News, the American Heart Association, okay, the Mothers Against Drug Driving, okay, might be a good one for that example we gave. The name of the journal or website, American Journal of Psychiatric Medicine, whatever. You can also use kind of a general term like many people. You can also use something like scientists, educators, politicians, citizens, again, a general term. So a signal phrase, transition, okay, an indicator, and then a verb, stated, discuss, argued, believe, agree, writes, okay, any of those. And then going into the quote and then the citation. Again, a citation is just the author's name in parentheses unless it's a book. And then, of course, you'll use the page numbers, okay? And so, kind of just the example here, again, that shows you how that breaks down. For example, okay, there's our transition. In a study at Dartmouth University, we have our indicator. Scientist, okay, in a study at Dartmouth University, scientist, okay, there's your who said it, okay. Found, there's our verb, okay. And then, of course, there's our quote, and then there's our citation. So you can see I didn't just start the sentence right here, the brain of an 8-year-old freshman. Okay, I gave the full transition plus indicator plus verb, and then the quote, and then I cited it. That's what I want to see every time you put in a quote. That's how you can assure that you're going to get full points on the organization part of this essay or any essay that you write. All right. So that was our lesson on the ICE format. Again, building blocks of your writing. You want to have at least 2 to 3 ICE per body paragraph. Again, they should support your topic sentence and, of course, support the overall thesis of your essay. All right. I hope this video helped. Have a great day.